Andy Jane Robin, your class is entering the ring.
Attention in the barns. We have class 1 in the ring. We need class 2 market goats to be in the makeup ring. Once again, class 2 market goats to the makeup ring. Good morning and welcome to the 2026 Kentucky State Fair Market Goat Show. I'm going to take this time to introduce our judge for today. Our judge is Caleb Boardman. He lives in Bryan, Texas with his wife Kylie and 3 children, Cash, Tatum, and Tinsley. He currently serves as the executive director for the American Boar Goat Association. Caleb and his family own and operate Boardman Livestock, raising blackface show lambs. He is originally from northern Wyoming, where he grew up on a large cattle operation before attending and judging livestock at Coffeyville Community College and Texas A&M University. After receiving a bachelor's in agribusiness, he then served as a graduate coach at Texas A&M, including coaching the 2013 national champion team. While earning a master's in ruminant nutrition, Boardman then spent the next 10 years serving as head coach at the University of Wyoming and Texas A&M, where his judging teams won over 25 contests. Caleb has judged shows of all species at the county, state, and national level in 31 different states, including the National Western, Fort Worth, OYE, Rodeo Austin, and 19 different state fairs. Please join me in welcoming our judge for today, Mr. Caleb Boardman. Attention in the barns. This is the last call for Class 2 market goats. Class 2 market goats need to be in the makeup ring.
Well, good morning. It's a pleasure to be back out here this morning. Looking forward to working through the Market Goat Show after a really high-quality set of kids yesterday and showmanship. And the Doe Show was just superb last night, and so excited to see what we get out here. And we start with a real good class. I think we got a pair of them that are real good and some trade-offs. Pull him forward, just a little young lady if you can. See if pull him in. He's want to show for you right there. This one right here, I think it's close trade-off between them right here. I like the extra just stoutness of this weather that we lead off with. To me, that guy's just a little wider and truer in his chest. I like his forerib shape just a little better. That one's to me just truer in terms of his upper rib and the base of his skeleton. That one handles a little bigger and square back over his loin edge, and when they go right away from us, he's a little truer, pinhawk to ground as we watch those things track away. His shoulder's not constructed quite as good. He pulls back on that young lady. His neck's not quite as long, and he kind of breaks right in there behind his shoulder, so that kind of part of him doesn't balance quite as well. Now, I do like how he's a little cleaner in his breastplate. I like how he's tucked up a little better in his chest floor, and he's got just a little more flank line in him that helps his underline balance. So I think there's some trade-offs in terms of balance, but if we talk about one as far as his height of shoulder, his length of neck, his strength of top line, being creased up and having a long, good hip in him, boy, this one right here is beautiful from this side. When I get right up on top of him, I read this guy just a little flatter, right in his forerib shape. I'd like to open him up just in terms of right behind his shoulder. I'd like to square him up at the edges of his loin and the front side of his hip right there and blend that together just a little bit, and then get him just a little more coordinated and square as I watch him travel right away. That's a pair of really good ones. The young ladies have got him stuck and just absolutely presented to the nines out here to this morning. Great way to start our show off with. Our Roan Paint right here, he's neat looking. He's got some of the look and the build of those top two young ladies. That one is tall-shouldered and long neck. Boy, this one handles fantastic. That's a thin-hided rascal that's really big-shaped and just got a big, hard muscle to him right there. Expression all the way from behind. There's just not enough of him, young lady. He's too flat. He's a little too closed up. But I liked his lateness and maturity. I liked his extension. I liked his hard muscle shape in a lightweight class specifically compared to our two moderate weathers that are going to come next. These two paints right here, moderate, opened up, stout guys right there. This one right here, both of them a little too small. Both of them are a little quicker, a little shorter body to get up into those top three. Comparing the two of them, I like this guy's rib. I like his strength behind his blade. I liked his muscle shape and his handle to beat our black paint. Our black paint's bigger footed. Our black paint is a little wider based. He's just probably just a little burlier all the way through in terms of his foundation and his feature compared to this weather that gets a little frailer. He gets just a little off behind his blade right here. He doesn't handle quite as crisp and firm, and his muscle tone and texture over the top side of his skeleton right there. A nice pair of moderate framed weathers that'll always just stay opened up and have plenty of product. Little guy here for us. His better days are probably ahead if we can still feed on him. I get him up here because I think that one's build. I think that one's balance, and I think the foundation of what he can become is pretty good down the road. I thought it was close between 6 and 7 right here. I liked maybe just the muscle shape and for his frame of what he had a little bit better than our paint. Paint kind of matches Red Roan parts of him in it. That was third right in there. Tall fronted, pretty good looking to go. He needs a little more muscle on that frame. If we could have just filled him out and given him a little more muscle to go with his look and his structure, that's a top 5 goat all day. He just stayed a little skinny on us right out here. Next couple that we go down, young people are doing a good job on. They're not quite as fresh handling. They're maybe just not quite as stout in terms of their bone work and their hip and their muscle, but the young people are doing a great job. Let's give them a nice round of applause. A good class all the way top to bottom.
Class 2 is entering the ring. We need our first and second place from Class 1 to be in the makeup ring. Results from Class 1, first place and first Kentucky Proud is Madison Metzger. Your second place goes to Gabriella Swalski. Third to Michaela Pike. Fourth and second place, Kentucky Proud, Jillian Schultz. Fifth place to Kenton Burnett. We need our first, second, and third place out of Class 1, as well as our first and second Kentucky Proud to be in the makeup ring for our division drive at the conclusion of this class.
Well, unfortunately, this young lady's got a good goat that does not want to show off for her right out there. But when I do get good looks at him and get him going around the ring, this pair of them that start off with are just easily the burliest in terms of width and muscle and carcass merit. These are the two most opened up, best handling goats from just a power and carcass standpoint, keeping the fundamentals in mind. And then when this one will actually walk and get out, we never really do get a great look at him from the side. I actually do prefer this goat from a structure standpoint in terms of length of spine, angle of shoulder, flexibility to hind leg compared to the weather that's in too. This guy is ultra thick. I mean, he is a moderate opened up guy that's huge chested. His rib cage is big, and that lays the foundation for him being as big and hard backed and big muscled and got as much carcass merit and potential as anything in this particular class. I read him just a little quicker in his kind. He's a little shorter headed. He's just a little shorter and tighter in terms of his shoulder construction. Main thing out of his hip. He gets a little shorter and steeper and tighter out of his hip. He wants to throw that back leg just a little bit and not use it quite as good. Build and balance wise, our white-eared one here is the best in class. That guy is awesome structured. That guy gets out and is flexible and loose spined, and I like that kind. I don't think he has quite enough muscle to be able to beat the two in front of you. I just don't think there's enough goat there. If he's just a little bigger backed, if that one's a little bigger pinned or bigger at the ground, any of those areas, I think I might be able to justify getting him up and just saying, boy, this is the one that we probably do need him built a little bit more like is this guy in terms of a structure standpoint. I think in a market goat show for this judge, he's just a little shy in terms of muscle to be able to run him clear to the top. Good goat in terms of his look, his build. Love that one in motion as far as how that one's put together. Little stouter goat here that kind of fits with our class top two just a little more as far as a width and a forearm and a feature and a skull standpoint, a pin width and lower leg standpoint than the weather we just talked about. He's just a little coarser in terms of his build. Biggest thing, young lady, that one's not quite as fresh. When I get my hands on him, he's a little plainer in his muscle shape over his rack. He's a little regressed in his loin shape. I wish we could make that guy bigger and fresher up high. He could work up at least one spot, maybe up there into the top pair. This guy right here, get in behind him. He's maybe the most impressive goat we've seen so far in terms of just stoutness, in terms of his hip, his depth of twist, inner and outer leg. That guy's just get really powerful right here from behind. Doesn't balance quite as good from the side, young lady. He's a little frailer structured. He's a little open-shouldered and easier right in his top line. But just as much as powerful as he is from behind, he doesn't handle quite as good up high as well. He's a little softer touching. I wish he was just a little more aggressive in his muscle shape up high to match how powerful he is right from behind. Big stout goat here as far as feature goes. That's long-bodied, needs more muscle shape, especially right from behind. He gets too flat in his outer stifle. Next couple, just a little staler handling when I get my hands right up on him. Couple big, long, extended goats that we round out with that are just a little thinner. We needed just a little more muscle and weight on these frames that on these bigger framed goats at this weight class. Let's give them all a nice round of applause as we close out this division.
Michaela Pike, your third place animal from class 1 needs to be in the makeup ring. Just a reminder, all of our divisions today, we will be bringing back first, second, and third places. So make sure that our first, second, and thirds all make it to the makeup ring for the division drive. Results from class 2. First place went to Presley Compton. Second to Case Crupper. First place Kentucky Proud. Third and second place Kentucky Proud went to Walker Short. Fourth, Kaylee Carson. And fifth place to Willa Blanchard. Congratulations to all those exhibitors. Now in the ring, we are exhibiting for our Division 1 drive. We need those class 3 market goats to be in the makeup ring. Once again, class 3 market goats to the makeup ring.
Test. If you would, let's go ahead, put our hands together, congratulate these 6 young individuals out here. Got a good set of goats. Told the 2 young ladies, obviously you can see it as a crowd out. The judge picked 2 goats that don't want to show very good. They would not win our showmanship contest necessarily because they got bad teammates out here. When we get them out and get them going, I'm confident for this judge, those 2 deserve to come out of those classes. As far as when we see those things out in terms of their build, their body shape, their squareness, their handle, and I get them on there. I wish they made it a little easier on us all out here and on them. Not that wish these goats made it easier on their showmen, that we get a little better look at these things standing still, that these things are just not wanting to go. But it's my job to evaluate what I think are the best pieces of livestock right out here, and I'm still very satisfied with having those 2 at the front of the line. I think there's 3 of them that are awfully good out here, not to take away from the other ones that are going to get left standing out here. But I think just as far as body shape and build, when we get the right looks at them, I hope you can see the same things I'm seeing right out here. Let's give them one more round of applause. Young lady right here is going to have her champion. Congratulations. Our 2 lightweights are going to be reserved in 3rd. Congratulations.
We need our Kentucky Proud. We're selecting for reserve champion Kentucky Proud. Congratulations to your champion out of Division 1 from your 2nd class, Miss Presley Compton from Battletown, Kentucky. Your reserve Division 1 champion came out of our 1st class, Madison Metzger from Rockfield, Kentucky. And your 3rd place overall was your 2nd out of Class 2, going to Ellis Walski from Augusta, Kentucky. Your champion Kentucky Proud animal out of Division 1 was Madison Metzger, and your reserve Kentucky Proud champion goes to Case Crupper. Congratulations to all of those exhibitors. We are now showing Class 3. We need Class 4 market goats to the makeup ring. Once again, Class 4 market goats to the makeup ring. Attention in the barns, we have had a cell phone turned in at the announcer stand. So if you are missing your phone, please come up to the announcer stand.
The young man's Weather wins this class pretty handedly, not without a few faults. He gets a little rounder shouldered and lower fronted and doesn't operate out of his front end quite how I like. He just overwhelms everything in terms of width and muscle. That guy is just all there in terms of stoutness of skull, skeletal width, rib cage, spread up high, hip, and still having a good hind leg. I think all those things fit very well together. Again, wish we could redesign him up front just a little bit, maybe make him just a little later maturing. He wins this class very handily for me with a very nice Weather there. Weather here in second. Young lady's got a great touch and great carcass go. You know, young lady, if I can give you a little suggestion going forward, I'd leave just a little more hair on him. We got him a little more like surgically shorn there. I think he'd smooth up just a little bit if we leave a more of a cover coat on that guy. But boy, it probably does help his touch. That thing is big muscled up high. We can see the shape and expression he has out of his hip. Just from a true carcass and handle standpoint, I think he slides in here to second. Is he quite as neat as the goat that's in three from a quality standpoint and a build and balance standpoint? No, I thought that was the trade-offs right here. I thought there was a pretty substantial difference in terms of handle quality and carcass potential between them to go ahead and go with this guy that's a little rougher shouldered and rougher in his top line, a little down on his rear pasterns compared to what I would consider maybe a little higher quality show goat as far as some of the pieces go, as far as build and balance and look in this guy right here. But Owen's got those pieces bred into him really neat. He just disappoints me a little too much on handle. I've got to see just a little more hard muscle shape. I've got to see a little bigger loin edge. I've got to see a little more muscle right from behind as we project these things out as market goats. Boy, he's built really neat. He's cool, like several goats that have, I guess, ended up here in the third standpoint. Good structured, good looking, and not enough power to rival and get up into that top pair of them right there. This is one that pretty good carcass-oriented goat. When you get up on top of him, he handles with a little bit more than the goat right in front of him, and probably rivals our goat there in second as the other as a real good handling goat. He's got a big spread behind his shoulder. He does have a big old loin in him. This guy do just need to change structurally a little bit more. We see right up in his knee, he's a little forward and over at his knee, caused him to break in behind his shoulder. He's just a bit shorter hipped and frail underneath. We just got to redesign him a little from a structure and a balance standpoint to be able to get up there into the top three. A solid one here. I think just solid fundamentals, and probably especially from his hip forward, young lady, I appreciate this one. He gets a little easy in his top line. He mainly flattens up from behind, doesn't have enough just outer stifle shape and just view from behind. I need to give him more turn to his lower leg to kind of maximize his carcass potential there. The young lady does a nice job getting this one stuck. Tall fronted, good looking one. We talked about one that would maybe needed a little hair. This is starting to get a little trendy. I'll just tell you, young lady, my personal preference is probably getting that one shorn just a little tighter. I think we left him just a little fuzzier than ideal on that one. He's tall fronted. He is good looking. He's plenty good structured. He needs more power. That one just runs out in terms of width and substance. Same story here, young lady. This one is tall fronted. This one actually has a little more hard muscle shape up high. He's got to have more right from behind. We got to fix his back legs a little. He's got too much set. He gets a little wobbly in his back leg there. But a neat fronted goat that's hard muscled. Little stouter one right here that maybe doesn't balance quite as well. I think a couple lean goats that have some carcass potential from a leanness and cutability standpoint need to fix them structurally and from a balance standpoint just a little bit. Give this guy just a little more rib and depth of body there. He's a little too flat rib. A deep sound structured goat here gets a little too plain muscled. We just got to get a little more red meat yield potential on that particular goat. Nice class. Let's give class 3 a nice round of applause.
Class 4 is now coming into the ring. Results from Class 3, your first place and first place Kentucky Proud goes to Case Crupper. Second place and second Kentucky Proud, Addison Arnold. Third place goes to Tipton Redmond. Fourth, Jillian Schultz. Fifth, Casey Vogt. Sixth, Carrie Wagner. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Once again, we need our top 3 out of Class 3 to be in the makeup ring for our division drive. This is the first call for Class 5.
Couple nice weathers up at the top end of this deal, and they have some trade-offs, but this one suits this judge pretty well as far as athleticism and how they're supposed to be built in terms of their rib cage and front end and look and shape and expression. Easily the best touching goat out here. I mean, that thing is so fresh and hydrated. He is so wedgy from his shoulder back into his loin. Love how big his pin set is. That thing is tucked up in terms of his shallowness and his roundness of cage. He just looks like an athlete out here. I like that thing specifically compared to our powerhouse in 2. I like him in terms of just a little bit more extended, a little longer bodied, a little leaner, little better touching. This one's as wide and stout as anything we've got out here so far today. That thing is absolutely blown apart in terms of his width and his rib. That thing is absolutely blown apart in terms of his topside spread from his shoulder back to his hip, and he handles all that mass pretty impressively out in motion. I wish he was fresher handling. I wish that thing had a little more shape and just a little more expression. He's moderate. That's okay. He's bold and stout. He proportions well. I think a really good goat to be standing here in second. Young ladies here in 3. From a stylistic standpoint, maybe fits our class winner just a little bit better as far as being a little taller fronted, longer bodied, leaner, and more athletic in his look than our weather in second. I didn't think we could just separate those two, even though they were different, just for the good that they brought and how unique they are. This guy right here, he gets a little easier in his top line. Probably right at the heel of his loin. I wish he was tied in a little better at the front side of his hip. As much as anything, I don't get him to balance quite as well underneath. He's just a little harder flanked and rounder out of his hip. I can't get him to probably balance and proportion quite as well as the top 2 right there. A real nice weather to be standing in 3. Thought it was close between 4 and 5, between our Caped Weather and our Red Hawk Doe right here. I thought there was just a little more hip shape and stifle shape in the weather right there. Both of them I wish were just a little stouter at the ground in terms of feature. Neither of them are quite as good handling as our top 3 young people. I just wish they had a little more shape and expression up high. I thought this guy was bigger hipped. I thought he had more depth of twist and outer stifle shape right there compared to our Doe. Doe is tall fronted, good structured, really good from the side, young man. With a Doe, sometimes they just run out of muscle and power. They're not just quite as terminal in their shape. That's the case on this gal right here. She's just a little plainer and nondescript in her muscle shape up high. She's just a little plainer from behind. Sound, good built, functional type of doe. Needs a little more product in a terminal type class, in a market goat class right there. 6 and 7 were close. I like the burlier skeleton one. That's a little wider spread up high. We got to fix his build a little bit. He's a little coarser hided. Biggest thing from a balance standpoint is a little off behind his shoulder. I want to change him out of his hip. He gets a bit steep there out of his rump right there from behind. Prettier weather here, big extended weather. Needs to handle better. Handle is kind of what betrays him, young lady. Hey, moderate stout one right here. Told the young lady we got him a little full. That throws his balance off. As wide as he is in his hip, I'd like to give him more depth and just a twist right there. As we go down some again that probably just don't handle quite as good. We just need a little more muscle spread and just dimension on these things. Young people are working really hard. Let's give them all a nice round of applause. A very good class, and we'll pick us a division champion.
Results from Class 4. First place went to Maisie Hazelrig from Ewing, Kentucky. Second place and first place Kentucky Proud to Lena Durbin. Third and second place Kentucky Proud to Bryn Ricketts. Fourth place to Jessa Conrad. And fifth to Tipton Redmond. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now in the ring we are exhibiting for Division 2. We need Class 5 market goats to the makeup ring. Once again, Class 5 market goats need to be in the makeup ring.
Put your hands together again for these 6 out of Division 2, if you would. Great set of goats right out here. Some differences between them. Different judges may line them up. Pretty logical for me in this particular setup. One suits me pretty well. And then we got a couple unique ones to go second and third in. Congratulations to each of them. Young lady here, that'll be our champion Division 2. Congratulations. We'll follow right up out of the same class with reserve. Young man right here is going to be third. Congratulations to each of them.
Congratulations to your champion Division II Market Goat going to Macy Lynn Hazelrig from Ewing, Kentucky. Your reserve came out of the same class going to Miss Lena Durbin, and that is also your champion Kentucky Proud in Division II. Your third overall went to Case Crupper, and he is also the reserve Kentucky Proud Animal in Division II. Congratulations to all of our Division II exhibitors. Now coming in the ring, we have Class 5. We need Class 6 Market Goats to the makeup ring. Class 6 to the makeup ring. This is the last call for Class 6 market goats. Class 6 market goats to the makeup ring.
Takes me just a little longer to sort through here, and it's really kind of from 3 till quite a ways down the line. This is kind of our deeper one of our deeper classes. So some of you that are over on the fence right here, you know, you got some nice goats. One of our deeper classes here that several of those goats in previous classes would have worked up a couple of spots each way. Never was going to doubt which two we're going to sort up into the top pair. You know, when they first came in, this weather that's in second came at me, and his chest and width and viewpoint when they come in that gate hit me pretty hard. That might be the one that we tie into at that point. This guy came in there at the very end and thought, well, that one's maybe not quite as wide and stout. When they get him propped here on the side, that one just suits me, is what I'm looking for. We can see that one as far as being height of shoulder, underline quality, length of body, length of hip, balance and proportion, handle quality, all of those things. That goat is really good. He's a little out, right, probably at his shoulder and his elbow ever so slightly, and with him being out just a nickel right there, he's not just the most cracked open, right, in terms of his forerib. That one underneath maybe the extras that he's kind of got presented well and glued into him there is not the stoutest in terms of genuine foot size right at the surface, but I think that one's build and athleticism and proportions and look here from the side is kind of how I like them to be made right there. A lot of good in this goat right there. The genuine, opened up, stout. Love his genuine foot size compared to the weather we just talked about. Love just his feature in that regard. This guy is his true in chest width and forearm, true body shape and spread up high from his blade back to his hip. With all of that, he's just a little coarser at the base of his shoulder and neck compared to the weather we just started with. He's a little shorter bodied and a little steeper hipped and doesn't handle himself quite as well out in motion or on the stick to give us quite as good of a look out on the lead or right here on the side right there, young man. Burly, stout, genuine goat. That's tremendously product driven. A lot of quality in that particular weather. Awesome carcass goat right here, young lady. I mean, that thing is rock hard to the handle, and we can see from the outside he has a huge hip, and the shape down through his lower leg is very impressive. Love how truly lean and athletic bodied that guy is, and just he looks like an athlete out here as far as just kind of a lean, ripped up kind of goat, and I like that. I like him to be athletic in that rib and that muscle tone and texture. He's so wide, it throws him out of balance just a little bit. He's a little too wide-shouldered. Main thing, we get outside. He's so wide-hipped. He gets a little outside the plane of his body here in his stifle joint. It gets him outside himself. And as wide and as good as he is out here, he's actually a little high-twisted. And so we just got to smooth him up, get him fixed in those couple areas to get him up in the top two. Love his shape, love his expression. Another one right here, and young lady, I told another young lady earlier, tell you the same thing. I think we'd probably leave just a little more hair on that guy. I'd encourage maybe a little more of a cover coat. Well, he is shapely and expressive. He's a little rougher in his lines. He's maybe just a little rougher in terms of his top line and into his loin, out of his hip right there, all of those things. I think if we'd leave just a little hair, it'd help blend him together. I almost missed him to start with because he just looked a little rougher and out of balance with those lines. That's a good goat. He's square, huge topped again. Compared to the one right in front of you, not quite as wide hipped, maybe not quite as just total product, but love his touch, love his expression, love his muscle, and I like that guy from a structure standpoint compared to our guy in 5. Our 1 and 5 from just a standpoint, a build standpoint, a width, a burliness, a rib cage, volume of muscle, kind of matches type and kind of our weather that was up there in 2, young man. He takes some of those flaws and probably pushes the limit to the bad side just a little bit more, unfortunately. He's just a little rounder in his build, gets off in his top line and rounder out of his hip. Wish this guy was a little bigger, later maturing, and leaner in terms of his touch and tone, but moderate, stout, big-ribbed, thick, product-driven type of goat right there. Want to change his build and balance. Some real good goats right through here. Young lady's white doe, handles good, doesn't have enough hip. Just need to stouten her up right from behind. These next couple right here, great looking from the side. These 3 young ladies are good showmen on them. They all need to be better handling up high. They just need to handle with more touch and tone up high. That guy's a little deeper chested, a little heavier conditioned. These 2 are right from a leanness standpoint. They just don't have enough muscle spread when I get my hands on them right down their top side. A couple down here just run out of power as we go down the line. Young lady's just out of her hip right there. Again, those were a good set of goats right through this division right here in this class. Just didn't have quite enough power and enough muscle in what got to be a little deeper class from a product standpoint. Let's give them all a nice round of applause. Kids are working hard and have done a great job with their projects all summer.
Go team, go. Class 6 is entering the ring. Results from Class 5. First place went to Charlie Flock from Harrodsburg, Kentucky. Second place to Carson Dalton. Third and first place Kentucky Proud went to Grace Scott. Fourth and second place Kentucky Proud, Addison Arnold. And fifth place to Case Crupper. Congratulations to those exhibitors. We need our first, second, and third place animals to be in the makeup ring. We will be selecting Division 3 at the conclusion of this class. This is also the first call for Class 7 market goats. Attention exhibitors, this is the second call for class 7. Second call for class 7. Market goats, we need our first through thirds from class 5 in the makeup ring. Addison Arnold, your fourth place in class 5 needs to be in the makeup ring. You were reserve Kentucky Proud, so we need Addison Arnold from class 5 in the makeup ring.
I apologize for taking just a second longer there, but just really trying to weigh out with the strengths and weaknesses of these three goats right here because they're each very unique. They bring a lot to the table. Each of them have a thing or two that I'd like to change, and so I just had to weigh out where I was going to kind of put, and I try to balance things out, and I try to find the one that puts the most good together with the least holes in every class. Obviously, I try to stick with a type, but I try to put as many positive traits into an animal as I possibly can, even if they're built slightly different. And these three aren't built the same for sure, and that makes it challenging here on which way we're going to go. The one that I land on right here, this kind of straight-faced one, this guy, without a doubt, the best headed, the widest constructed, the truest ribbed, the widest backed, the widest base, the biggest hipped goat out here that still balances well. He's a little deeper than I like him. He's just a little softer handling than I like him. And he could go just a little more flexibility in his rear leg for how I like him. And so all of those weigh in to make him not an easy class winner. He is the easy class winner from a width and a power and a rib standpoint and still balancing fine. He ranks third as far as shallowness, height of shoulder, length, extension, trimness. And so that comes into consideration because those are priority traits for me that I like to put some emphasis on. The ending factor for me is that I just decided, I'm going to get a little critical on these two. We'll talk their good in a second. I just decided this guy was not good enough handling for me up high, especially over his loin, and I decided that guy does not have enough rib cage or enough base width underneath for me, and that's where I land on that goat. And he's a good goat, and he ended up having the least just big holes for me all the way through. This guy from the side's great. I like him. His height of shoulder, his smoothness of top line is the best, and the way he runs uphill, awesome in terms of his lines and a hip and a hind leg. That's what I like. I like that about him. He's a little narrow-based underneath. Gosh, I just wish he handled better up high. I wish that guy was more aggressive in terms of his shape out of the back of his shoulder. I wish he was bigger and squarer to his loin edge. I wish he had a little more true punch out of his hip right there. If we just burly him up a little bit in terms of a product standpoint, I love his build. Because this one's a little freakier as far as shallowness, height of shoulder, and length of neck. But I actually prefer this one's balance because I think the way he ties in behind his blade and his strength of top and the way his hip is constructed just helps him. That one's proportions are the best in there. He's not quite as freaky as the ones on either side of him, but proportions are just so beautiful from the side. I just don't know if there's enough genuine meat goat there as far as true base width, watching him go away, handle quality up high. That guy's just a little peaked right in behind his shoulder when you get up on him and watch him go right away from you. This one right here, this one would probably be kind of sheepy built, and some people think, I'm a sheep person, so I kind of appreciate some things about that one. We don't need to make goats look like sheep, but as a sheep person, boy, when we make them that shallow and neat underlined and long-bodied and just that tall-fronted and neat-looking as they go around, boy, there's some things that just I want to tie real into. And he is lean. He is athletic. That thing is shapely backed. From a cutability and a touch standpoint, that one's probably my favorite. It's not as massive as our class winner, but boy, he is hard-shaped and fresh. Boy, I wish I could change his skull. That thing is not very pretty. Boy, I wish I could make him just a little stronger in his back. He's so long-bodied and probably needs just a little more muscle up high that he'll get just a little easy. Going away, that one's the narrowest of our top three. He is the flattest ribbed of our top three. I just needed a little more rib cage. I needed a little more width underneath of there. That one's got some freak pieces to him. Young lady right here, this one, if we could change him structurally a little bit and change his balance a little bit, he's got some pieces that are actually my favorite. And so I want to give him credit where it's due, even though we didn't study as hard as the top three. That's the best bodied goat of our top four. That one is the roundest ribbed. That one is the best in terms of leanness and athleticism of rib cage. That one's the best, young lady. He's a little too wide and out in his shoulder. He's a little hard flanked. His hind leg and his rear leg don't work as good. That gets him fourth in a real tough class. This one's great from the side as well, young lady. Runs out of power down his top and out of his hip. Just needs a little more oomph and stoutness all the way through. Good goat. You ran into a real tough class, young lady. Be proud of that one. Big, stout, burly one here. He's a little too coarse and round, young lady. He's a little short and jammed up. Just needs to be leaner, more extended. But, boy, he's packed full of product and power. Next couple right in here, I think good goats run out of power right from behind. They need more width and stoutness right from behind through their hip and their lower stifle. This one needs to handle just a little better. Young lady still got the best attitude in the barn. I like that young lady. You make my day every time I talk to you. I appreciate that. We could all use a little more smile like that young lady has. These ones just need a little more muscle shape. Again, young people working hard. Let's give them all a nice round of applause. Great class up there on the top end.
Now coming in the ring, we are showing for our Division 3s. Results from Class 6. First place went to Izzy Godman from Brooksville, Kentucky. Second and first place, Kentucky Proud, goes to Avery Holman. Third and second place, Kentucky Proud, goes to Mary Juris. Fourth to Presley Compton, and fifth to Parker Compton. Congratulations to all those exhibitors. We need Class 7 to be in the makeup ring.
Again, if you would, put our hands together. Let's congratulate Division 3 out here. Deepest division so far. We're getting into those weights where we'd expect that. Boy, this is the division that starts to, feel bad for some kids that are not going to be able to hang a banner and be able to go on with some really good goats. Maybe different day, different judge. They'd be up at the top of the lineup. There's some just tough decisions to be made. Boy, out in this lineup, the three that I'm going to end up with, I like a lot of things about. Champion, so athletic. Reserves burly. Third's great looking. That's how I read them. Young lady right there is our champion. Congratulations. This young lady's reserve. This young lady's third. Congratulations.
Congratulations to your champion, Division 3 Market Goat, going to Charlie Flock. Your reserve overall goes to Izzy Godman. Your third overall, who is also your Kentucky Proud champion from Division 3, is Avery Holman. And your reserve Kentucky Proud Division 3 Market Goat goes to Mary Juris. Congratulations to all of those exhibitors. Now coming in the ring, we're going to have Class 7. Attention in the barns. If anyone would like to sell their market goat, there is a buyer out at the loading dock, and he is giving $3.40 per pound, $3.40 per pound. So once again, if you would like to sell your market goats, the buyer is out on the loading dock.
Again, a pair of them that rise to the top, built a little bit differently. Like this one's just maturity and leanness and athleticism a little bit better to go ahead and lead off with. I think he's a little more where we need to be in this judge's opinion from a size and length and lateness and maturity standpoint. He's out at his elbow. Young lady tries to kind of hide it up. I know she was I could tell, kind of painful wanting to show me that front view right there, but I see it. It's okay. He's pretty good everywhere else. That one is so cool in terms of his height, the shoulder. Stoutness of chest is obviously out there. When they're a little out at her elbow, we get crazy wide in terms of chest floor, but that one's rib cage, that one's back and spread and freshness, just his look all the way through, like that go to good deal in a lot of places. Our crazy stout one, this one is as moderate and as burly and as opened up as anything we've seen. I mean, he's just like a little bowling ball right out here. That thing has got a massive top and hip. That thing is just incredibly stout from the tip of his nose to his toes there, young lady. All of it comes at the cost. It comes at him being a little coarse-shouldered and bolder. It comes at him being a little squattier and not quite as good built. He's just probably pushing the line just a little bit in terms of some maturity and how wide and stout do we actually need to make him there as far as thinking of some different things as far as production and how those things come out of the mama and some grow and some different things. I don't want to get on too big of a soapbox, but he's a good goat. I think he's probably just not quite good enough in his shoulder and his build there to get around that one right up front for the way I like him. Good handling, good lean carcass goat here. He's not near as good looking as our winner. He's not near as burly and stout as our second young lady. You fit here in third as just that other lean, trim, high cut ability carcass goat. Front 2/3 of this one's awfully nice young lady. Gets a little straight hawked, gets a little too flat from behind. Like her handle, like her freshness. Handle quality gets you up here into 4. This one's builds good from the side. Needs to handle better up high. Just needs a little more muscle shape right up high on that black-headed guy. Next pair's probably got just a little more muscle shape up high. This one specifically, long-bodied goat, runs out of power from behind. Wish he had a little more rib cage and depth of flank. He looks just a little harder and just a little wrung out there, young lady, in this weight frame. A little better in that regard, not quite as good handling, little steep hip to want to change that hip structure. Next ones we come to, when I get my hands on them, just don't have the same muscle spread and shape and freshness. Again, young people are doing a good job. Let's give them a nice round of applause. A couple neat ones up there on the top end of that class as usual.
Class 8 is now entering the ring. Results from Class 7, first place Kentucky Proud goes to Avery Holman from Perryville, Kentucky. Second place goes to Macy Hazelrig. Third to Maylee Perkins, and she was your second Kentucky Proud. Fourth place goes to Avery Turner, and fifth to Elena Thomas. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Just a reminder, we do need our first, second, and thirds to be in the makeup ring. We will be selecting our division at the conclusion of this class. Just a reminder, all of our Kentucky Proud champions and reserves will come back at the end of our show today to show for our silent selection Kentucky Proud drive. So once again, if you were a Kentucky Proud champion or reserve, you need to make your way up to the makeup ring at the conclusion of our show. We're now showing Class 8. At the conclusion of this class, we will be selecting our champion and reserve and third overall for Division 4. just a reminder to all of our exhibitors, there is a buyer out at the loading dock. He's offering $3.40 per pound. So if you would like to sell your goats today, he is over on the loading dock. Also, all of our Kentucky Proud champions and reserves will line up at the end of the day for our silent selection. So if you are a Kentucky Proud champion or reserve, you will come back out at the end of the day.
Tough class. This young man was the last one I handled as I went down the line, and I said, you guys kind of stacked a bunch of good ones here at the same time, because you could see when they came in, a couple of the last classes, maybe the last one particularly, maybe wasn't quite as deep, and one or two came in the front like, all right, there's gonna be our top two goats, and another couple came in like, okay, those ones are really good, and then some of the ones I said those are gonna be up in the top two goats might end up 5th, 6th, 7th down the line right here. Obviously, I debated this for a while. I didn't debate that one. That one right there from a 3/4 standpoint, I think is awfully good livestock. To have a rib cage and a spread of back and a hip and a lower leg shape and the way he proportions is really good. Is he the longest, skinniest necked one? That's the thinnest at the base side of his neck and at his chest? No. That one is probably the best bodied one, in my opinion, as far as being bold, yet still athletic and lean and hard muscled, as we have probably seen. Again, he is not perfect. He has probably just a little more give to his hip than I would say is just perfectly ideal. It probably allows him to have that much as far as how much he has in his lower leg. I mean, it is almost impossible to make him dead level hipped and put that much muscle underneath of it. So he probably has that right amount of it. And just, I think from a 3/4 standpoint, that one's chest width, how it sits up in him, how his shoulder lays onto his body wall, how he is so bold and true in his forerib. He is so good at the top side of his blade and how it opens up into his true shape up high. But that thing is just so wide, so stout, so athletic, and he handles it plenty good on the go. I was not debating. It took a while. I mean, it took me a little while to study. Oh boy, when she gets him stuck like that, the debate was here between 2 and 3. The debate was here between 2 and 3. I like that one just a little better in terms of his height of shoulder. I like this guy just a little better in terms of his strength of lines right behind his shoulder. I like that guy in terms of just how he goes in his front foot. I think he just stays a little better in his shoulder, his strength of top line, his levelness of hip. I think this guy balance is just a little bit better from the side. This guy is just a little truer in terms of his forerib. He is a little truer in terms of his top side mass, and I probably like his hind leg just a little bit better than the goat that we just talked about. He gets just a little easier in his top line. He gets just a little rounder out of his hip right there. I think that guy doesn't balance quite as well from the side in terms of his top line. His underline quality is just a little more parallel right there, and he just kind of pulls back on him. Of the three, I think actually compared to the one in second, I read him a little better at the top side of his blade in motion. He's probably got the most shoulder down at the base of his shoulder. Really good goat here to be standing there. Congratulations to all three of those young people. Great goat here, good looking from the side. He's not as fresh in his look and his hide and his touch, shapely, but just not quite as fresh in his overall just kind of appearance and look out here to me as those top three young men. But boy, I like that thing as far as his forearm. That thing would be a top 2 in a lot of classes out here. You kind of got stuck a short end of a draw right out here, young man. Burly, stout one, young lady, standing still. Thought you'd maybe be up in the top 2 or 3. Don't think this one goes good enough. I think he's too round in his shoulder. I think he's a bit short-bodied. This is the worst hip and hind-legged one as we go out. Again, a lot of classes that would have stayed up in the top 2. In this class, I can get a little more particular on build. I just think that one needs to be reconstructed from a skeletal standpoint just a little more as we watch her go out and the way he handles himself in his top line, his hip, and the way we go right there. Big stout ones right here in terms of 6 and 7. They both are a little heavier conditioned. I needed to lean them up and see them a little more shapely down their top. I like the length of body of 6. 7's awfully stout, just a little jammed up. He got a little fat on us, young lady right there. Big pretty ones come next. They run out of muscle in a class that's just got some goats in them that have a ton of muscle. Again, a lot of these goats right here would have been in the top 5 in most of our classes. They just ran into some goats that were way stouter as we went through. As we go down the line, just ran out of some handle quality. Needed a shot of bone and width all the way throughout. Great class, fun to sort. Thanks for listening to me debate on and how I saw them. Congratulations to each of them. Let's put our hands together.
Results from Class 8, first place and first place Kentucky Proud went to Liliana Robinette. Second place to Abigail Mattingly. Third, Carson Dalton. Fourth place and second place Kentucky Proud went to Caleb Broderick. And fifth place went to Macy Hazelrig. Congratulations to all of those exhibitors. We're now showing for Division 4. We need Class 9 market goats to the makeup ring. Once again, Class 9 market goats to the makeup ring.
If you would, let's put our hands together. Let's congratulate these young people right out here. Job very well done. I think really good set of goats. Fun to sort through right out here. All of them should be proud. Again, this is a division like the last one. It's going to be unfortunate to leave one out here of there, especially I think there's 4 of them that are awfully good. A young lady, that's a fancy show pony right there. Unfortunately, there's 3 that swallow him right behind you. We're going straight down the line right here. Congratulations to these 3. I hate to leave that one up front standing. He don't have quite enough for me out here compared to those 3. Congratulations to all of them. Great division.
Congratulations to your champion Division 4 Market Goat going to Liliana Robinette from Lexington, Kentucky. Your reserve Division 4 went to Abigail Mattingly from Murray, Kentucky. Your 3rd overall went to Carson Dalton from Scottsville. Your champion Kentucky Proud Animal was Liliana Robinette. And your reserve overall is Avery Holman. Congratulations to all of those exhibitors. Class 9 is now in the ring. We need Class 10, which is our last class today, of Market Goats to the makeup ring. Just a reminder, there is a buyer out at the loading dock. A buyer, a goat buyer. If you'd like to sell your goats, then you can sell those out at the loading dock. He's offering $3.40 per pound. Adeline Tipton from Class 10. We need you in the makeup ring. Once again, Adeline Tipton, you need to be in the makeup ring.
Love to see that excitement. Go ahead, pull up front, young man here. Think that one told that young man he was a little later coming in, and I started handling. I hadn't seen him come in. I came down to him. I said, "This one's hard to miss from a color pattern standpoint." I didn't see him come in, but glad he showed up. I think this one wins fairly handedly in this class. This one, from just a width and a handle and a muscle and a balance standpoint, is a little steep out of his hip. Change that about him. Just up in these heavier weights right here, this kind of weight division, it's harder to find maybe some that are as good in terms of leanness and hard muscle touch. Still be good skeleton. He's easily the one that fits that together as far as the athletic build we've been trying to put together on these guys for this particular judge. The other one that I think from a leanness, a height, an extension, a look standpoint fits. Here's this Weathering second. I like his length of body. I like his length of hind saddle. I wish he had more muscle up high. He's just a little softer touching. That guy's not near as aggressive in the turnover, his rack and his loin compared to our class one, or really even compared to 3 and 4. He gives up a little bit, but I just think his build's so good. I think he's so neat looking from the side. We got to keep him up here in the top 2. 3's a good built goat outside of his back pasture, and he's got a little extra set to his hind leg. He gets out and is very flexible and loose spine and comfortable on his feet and legs. One that I think handles good, is tall fronted. He's getting a little mature. I think maturity's starting to just probably betray him a little bit there in his breastplate and his depth of rib and his handle quality over his rib there. He's getting just a little heavier condition. Thought his build was superior to 4, and I thought he just had more muscle and width and rib to him than 5. 4 is a stout goat. That's probably his maybe class leader in carcass merit. He's got a big loin and a big hip. He's too round in his shoulder. He gets too off in his top line and off in his hip. I can't ever get him to balance up and give us just quite high enough quality look. Carcass merit's very good on that particular goat, though. A little better one as far as height of shoulder and some look here. I think this guy does just get a little flatter bodied. Really just kind of want to open him up in his pin set and base width when we go away. He was our narrowest tracking of our top 5 here as we watched him go away. Just want to square him up, blow him apart just a little bit right underneath. Next pair, good goats. Well, I thought this black-headed one when he came in, young lady, I thought that one would be up in the top couple. Beautiful skeleton. Love his build. He does not have enough muscle up high. He just got to be better handling. We put a different handle on that one. That one's probably top 2 in the class. This one's just a little more mature and deeper. Same thing, handle quality. If we fix his handle quality, I think that one probably gets up into the top 2 or 3 as well. Bold stat one gets a little rounder. Couple as we go down, just run out of muscle from behind. Don't have just as much thickness all the way through. Congratulations to each of them. Let's give them a big round of applause.
Results from Class 9. First place went to Lance Monday from Jeffersonville, Kentucky. Second place to Kendall Harris. Third place and your first place Kentucky Proud goes to Callie Yates. Fourth and second place Kentucky Proud to Dawson Price. And fifth place to Owen Williams. We need first, second, and third place and both of our Kentucky Proud animals from Class 9 to be in the makeup ring. We're now showing Class 10. At the conclusion of this class, we will be showing for Division 5 champions. We need all of our Kentucky Proud division winners to start making their way to the makeup ring. Once again, all of those Kentucky Proud division winners for our silent selection.
Young lady wins the class real handedly for me. I think that one up at this heavyweight, not the greatest scold thing in the world, but is easily still the wide, stout, fresh handling one that's got carcass priorities in line and still got an athletic build, like his rear leg better than our second place. Second place, our other lean, tall fronted, hard handling one. He's a little flatter bodied. Want to change that back leg. He's got too much set to his hind leg. He kind of crashes down on those rear pasterns. Oh, that one's big, tall fronted, long, late maturing, lean, high cut ability, and great touch on him. Just need to fix his back leg, need to open him up a little bit. This one is a little stouter in terms of chest and forerib. This one's stronger in terms of his rear leg and pastern right there. Gets a little coarser shouldered. He starts to get a little heavier conditioned and just breaks in his top line and out of his hip. Couldn't get him to balance the same as the second place goat. He wasn't quite as trim and high cut ability. I think 4 and 5 are stout, opened up goats right there. 4 certainly a little better structured out of his hip and his hind leg there, especially rear pastern. Thought both of them got just a little heavier condition. Young man, if we can make that thing better handling down his top and stronger from his blade back to his hip, I could get him all the way to second because I like his foot size. I like his looseness of build. I like his structure. I like his width. He's a little heavy condition. He gets too easy in his top line and he needs to handle better. Bolder, stouter goat here. Front 2/3 of him are all right, young lady, outside of being just a little fat. We got to change that back leg. He gets too soft and weak on those pasterns, too uncoordinated there. Harden him up a little bit. Big stout goat that gets a little fat. Same story with the next couple that we go, honestly. A couple of them, then we get up to 120, 130 range. We just needed to lean them up a little bit, make them a little more shapely and cutability driven. Let's give them a nice round of applause as we round out our day with our heavyweight market goats.
Results from Class 10, first place and first place Kentucky Proud goes to Addison Moore from Guston, Kentucky. Second place to Brooks Faulkner. Third place and second place Kentucky Proud goes to Caleb Broderick. Fourth, Luke Williams. And fifth to Kinley French. Congratulations to all of our exhibitors. We're now selecting for our Division 5 market goats. Once again, we need all of our Division Kentucky Proud champions and reserves to be in the makeup ring. Kentucky Proud champions and reserves in the makeup ring.
If you would, let's put our hands together, congratulate our last division here. I think a good competitive division. Excited to get all 5 of them out there on Thursday night. Always a chance that they'll change a little bit with a couple-day gap there. But, boy, I know all 5 divisions are going to be represented. What we bring out there, I'm going to be excited to see them under the bright lights. I think this division, there's just one that's a little manlier and stouter than everything else. A real neat-built one, neat-looking one to be second. It came close for third, like the hind leg of our third over what would end up being our fourth. Young lady out of her heavyweight class, you got her champion. Congratulations. Black paint will be reserved. Second there will be third overall. Congratulations.
Congratulations to your champion Division 5 market goat going to Addie Moore. Your reserve overall went to Lance Monday. Your third to Kendall Harris. Your champion Kentucky Proud Market Goat in Division 5 went to Addie Moore, and your reserve to Caleb Broderick. This is the last call for all of those Kentucky Proud division champions and reserves. It is time for our silent selection. Now coming into the ring is our Kentucky Proud exhibitors. Out of Division 1, you have Madison Metzger. From Division 2, Lena Durbin. From Division 3, Avery Holman. From Division 4, Liliana Robinette. And from your Division 5, Addison Moore. Your reserve champion out of Division 1 was Case Krupper. Your reserve out of Division 2 was Case Krupper. Your reserve out of Division 3 went to Mary Juris. Your reserve out of Division 4 is Avery Holman. And your reserve out of Division 5 is Caleb Broderick. Congratulations to all of our exhibitors in the ring right now. Let's give them a big round of applause. While our judge is evaluating the stock in the ring, let's give a big round of applause to our judge for the past 2 days, Mr. Caleb Boardman from Bryan, Texas. All of the exhibitors are dismissed. This completes our market goat show. Once again, you can go out to the loading dock to sell your goats for $3.40 a pound.